Welcome to the deep dive. We know you want to get right to the core of things, understand the essentials, and, well, do it fast.
That's the plan.
So today, we're digging into cybersecurity. We've got some notes here, insights from security professionals, and our mission really is to pull out those absolute must-know concepts.
Yeah, think of it as building a solid foundation.
Exactly. Your
Yeah.
cheat sheet to the basics, secure baselines, authentication, encryption, stopping threats, cutting through all the jargon.
Absolutely. And the material you pull together is great. It really hits those key areas for keeping things secure online. We'll touch on setting things up right from the start, secure baselines, like you said,
Right.
and then how we check who's logging in, authentication, protecting data with encryption, and how we tackle threats.
Okay, let's jump straight into those secure baselines then. The notes define them as documented standard configurations. For devices, software, the idea being consistency across a whole organization.
That's a perfect way to put it, a blueprint. It means setting up a uniform foundation. It's like making sure all the players on a team know the basic rules before the game starts.
Okay.
So everyone's using the same core security settings. Makes managing everything, defending everything, way simpler.
And the notes make a really good point contrasting this with other security stuff like patch management, keeping software up to date, or MFA, multi-factor authentication.
Yeah, those extra login steps.
Crucial things, obviously, but not quite the same as that initial standard setup, that baseline. It's like getting the foundation right before you paint the walls or put better locks on.
Exactly. Or think about intrusion detection systems,
Mm-hmm.
the security cameras or VPNs for secure remote access.
Right.
Vital, yeah, but they don't define that consistent starting point like a baseline does.
Right.
And here's a key insight from the notes. It's not just about having a standard. Attackers actually rely on people overlooking default settings. Those are easy doors in.
Because they're common and often weak.
Precisely. So hardening those defaults through a baseline isn't just like good practice. It's actively closing a known vulnerability.
Okay, so why are they so important? The notes mentioned improving security and IT efficiency.
Well, the efficiency part is interesting. When everything's standardized, it's just much easier to spot something weird, something out of place.
Like tidying a room makes it easier to see if something's been moved.
Exactly. And yeah, those out-of-the-box settings, prime targets, because they're predictable and often not locked down, secure baselines fix that.
Makes total sense. Secure the basics first. Now, the notes mention tools like Puppet for automating this.
Yeah, configuration management tools like Puppet are huge. Imagine setting up hundreds, thousands of machines manually to the exact same spec.
Nightmare. Prone to errors.
Totally. So tools like Puppet automate deploying and, crucially, maintaining those secure baselines. Consistency, less human error, big win.
And the notes clarified that other tools like CIS Cat Pro, SAP, STIGs, they're more for checking compliance. Like, does this system meet the standard?
Right. Assessment or specific standards, like STIGs for the Department of Defense, they don't do the automated deployment like Puppet does. Good distinction.
Okay, got it. Let's shift to access control lists, ACLs. How do we lock those down effectively?
The golden rule, really, emphasized in the notes. Deny by default.
Start by saying no to everything.
Pretty much. Think of it like a bank vault. Nothing gets in or out unless you specifically authorize it. So with ACLs, you block all network traffic first.
Okay.
Then you carefully, explicitly, permit only the specific traffic that absolutely has to get through for things to work.
Right, because the alternative, just letting everything in by default.
That's like leaving your front door wide open.
Yeah.
You're not filtering the good from the bad. Huge risk.
Total sense. Now, the notes also brought up MC address filtering, like checking a device's physical address.
Yeah, it's sometimes used as an extra layer.
But the notes warn it's not foolproof, because those addresses can be faked or spoofed.
Exactly. And that's the crucial point, really. Relying only on a MAC address gives you a false sense of security because, yeah, they could be spoofed. It shows why you need multiple layers.
So MSE filtering might be a small hurdle, but not real security on its own.
Not really. And while stateful firewalls, the ones that track connections, are important, the real strength of an ACL is that initial deny by default stance.
Got it. Okay, let's move to something we all use constantly, Wi-Fi. The notes went through the different security types, starting with open system authentication. Sounds not secure.
You'd be right. It's basically no real security. If your device knows the network name, the SSID, boom, you're connected. No actual check, least secure option, period.
Then there was WEP, wired equivalent privacy. Notes said outdated, weak. I feel like I heard about WEP issues years ago.
Oh yeah, WEP's got major known flaws, easy to crack with tools anyone can find online. Just don't use it.
Right. So next came WPA Wi-Fi protected access. Better, but not perfect. The notes mention TKP here.
Yeah, TKJP, Temporal Key Integrity Protocol, often used with WPA. It was an improvement over WEP, definitely. But, like the note said, it's still not as strong as what we have now with WPA3, so think of it as a stepping stone.
An interim fix.
Exactly. WPA was needed, but WPA3 is where we are now, the current standard. The notes mentioned WPA3 Enterprise versus WPA3 Pre-Shared Key, or WPA3 PSK.
Right. WTA3 Enterprise sounded more heavy-duty. Checks the user and the device using things like EAP. More for businesses, maybe?
Typically, yes. Places needing stronger individual user checks. WA3 PSK is more common for home use. It's still way better than WPA2, but it starts with that shared password and doesn't inherently check the device identity separately in the same way Enterprise does.
But even standard WPA3 has big upgrades over WPA2, right? The notes highlighted SAE.
Ah, yes, simultaneous authentication of equals. SAE is a game changer. It replaces the old WPA2 PSK handshake, which was vulnerable. Well, with WPA2, someone could potentially capture that handshake and try to crack your password offline. SAE prevents that. Even if someone intercepts the login traffic, they can't get the password.
Wow. Okay. That sounds huge, especially for like coffee shop Wi-Fi. Makes those evil twin fake networks much harder.
Much harder. It's a massive improvement for preventing eavesdropping right at that connection stage. Plus, the notes mention better crypto moving from CCM to GCM, stronger data protection.
And enhanced open.
Right. Enhanced open adds encryption to open networks, the ones without passwords. So even on that public Wi-Fi, your traffic gets some protection. It increases privacy.
But it doesn't replace WPS, the note said.
Correct. Enhanced Open is about encrypting data on open nets. Separately, there's Wi-Fi Easy Connect, or DPP. That's the more secure replacement for WPS, using things like QR codes or NFC to connect devices. Way better than the old, flawed WPS push-button thing.
Okay, so WTA3 is a pretty comprehensive security boost all around.
Definitely. Addresses multiple weaknesses of older standards.
Cool. Okay, shifting again. How do we control who actually gets onto the network? The notes talked about 802.1x. Sounds technical.
It is a standard, yeah. Think of 802.1x as a strict bouncer at every single network entry point. Could be a wired port, could be the Wi-Fi connection itself.
New bouncer. Okay.
It demands serious proof of identity before letting anyone or anything connect. It checks both the user and the device, usually with login credentials or like digital certificates. Rigorous authentication.
So way beyond just checking the MA address, which we already established can be faked.
Miles beyond. The notes rightly contrasted it with MA filtering for that exact reason. 802.1x verifies the person using the device, not just the hardware ID.
Which is key. And the notes also mentioned VPN concentrators and stateless firewalls here.
Right. Just to clarify roles, VPN concentrators mostly authenticate users connecting remotely. They're focused on securing that tunnel back into the network, not necessarily authenticating the device itself on the local network port.
And stateless firewalls.
They just look at individual data packets based on rules, like source, destination, port. They don't track connections or authenticate users or devices. Different job entirely.
So 802.1x is the main one for strong user and device checks right at the network edge, locally?
Exactly. For port-based access control, it's the standard.
Okay, great. Let's talk about actually dealing with threats when they appear. Intrusion prevention systems, IPS. What's special about them?
The P for prevention is key. And IPS doesn't just detect bad stuff. It actively tries to stop it in real time.
So it intervenes?
Yes. It monitors traffic, sees something malicious based on its rules or learned behavior, and can automatically block that traffic or maybe modify it to make it harmless. It's proactive.
That sounds much better than just getting an alarm after the break-in. The notes contrasted it with IDS, intrusion detection systems.
Right. The D is for detection. An IDS sees the suspicious activity and raises an alert, sends you a notification. But it usually doesn't step in automatically to block anything.
It's the alarm system, not the security guard who tackles the intruder.
Perfect analogy. And the notes also mentioned NIDS and HIDs.
Yeah. Network IDS watches the whole network traffic. Host IDS focuses on just one computer.
Correct. So NIDS sees the bigger picture but might just alert. HIDS is focused but may be less efficient for stopping a network-wide attack quickly. And network traffic analysis is similar to IDS, focusing on network streams.
So IPS is the active blocker. IDS and IDS, HIDS are more about detection and alerting.
That's the main functional difference, yeah. The IPS takes action.
Okay, got it. Last main area, securing the devices themselves. Device hardening. The notes highlighted the least functionality principle. What's that about?
It's a really core security concept. Basically, your computer, a server, whatever, should only run the absolute minimum services, protocols, software needed to do its specific job. Nothing extra.
So turn off anything you don't strictly need.
Exactly. Think of it as reducing the attack surface. Every extra service, every open port is another potential way in for an attacker. You don't need it, disable it.
Makes sense. Less stuff running means fewer potential holes. The notes did say, though, that other things like updates, user training, encryption are also vital.
Oh, absolutely. Security is layered. You need patching. You need people to be aware. You need monitoring. But the least functionality principle provides that specific guideline for the initial secure configuration of the device itself.
It's the blueprint for that device's setup.
You got it. Those other things support it, but limiting functionality is about shrinking the target in the first place.
This has been super helpful. We've really covered a lot of ground from secure baselines as the foundation.
Yeah, through ACLs, the nuances of WPA3 Wi-Fi.
0.8802.1x for access, telling apart IPS and IDS.
And finishing with locking down devices using least functionality.
It really shows how these concepts build on each other, right? You need multiple layers.
Absolutely. No single silver bullet. It starts with that solid baseline, then strong authentication, good encryption, active threat prevention.
Yeah.
It all works together.
So for everyone listening, the big takeaway, hopefully you've got a clearer picture of these essential cybersecurity ideas now, without getting totally swamped in technical details.
Yeah, and maybe picked up a few surprising things, like how SAE in WPA3 really works, or that key difference between an IPS actually blocking versus an IDS just detecting.
Definitely. So here's a final thought to leave you with, something to mull over. Thinking about that least functionality principle. What non-essential things might you have running on your own devices? Your laptop, your phone, even your home network router? Could there be services or features enabled that you don't actually use, which might just maybe be creating an unnecessary risk?
That's a great question. Worth taking a critical look at your own digital setup.